Hello guys, welcome to the studio. Today on the Bitbender studio, we're going to be talking about envelopes. Envelopes, we're just going to explain it as quickly and as short as possible so that you can apply that knowledge onto every other of your, program editing that you're doing in your project. So let's go. Welcome back. Yeah, like I said earlier, we're going to be talking about envelopes. Now, let's take a quick look at where envelopes can be useful, right? You need to know the fact that if you go to probably your menu, you go to program edit, most of the time you see your envelope here, which is the envelope, and this is for the envelope amplitude, and this is for the envelope filter, the envelope, for the pitch and all that. Now, we're going to be talking about this for now. I noticed that in program, you actually see attack and decay, right? Attack and decay, that you're wondering, okay, fine, what does that really mean? Or like, I know if I turn it, if I basically just drag it or I do something, I see something's happening on the screen. But you need to understand what each of them means so that you can actually apply that knowledge better, into exactly your concept that you have in your head. Let's go back to the main and we'll go to the let's go to the plugin. If I go to the plugin and I select let me see, hype, then I come back to the program edit. Here you can, if you come here, you see this one has attack, decay, sustain and release, and you're wondering, how can I make the best out of it? The same way, if you go back to the main and let's say we go to a key group, and then you come to program edit, you will see it's attack, decay, sustain and release here as well on the envelope amplitude. Now you need to know what exactly each of these means, and that's what we're going to right away. The first thing you need to understand is the fact that we have attack, that's the first one, and that is the time taken for initial run up of level from null to peak. And that basically is, we're talking about, it begins when the key is pressed. So if I press this, is the time it takes for that particular for this particular MIDI event to move from 0 to the peak of that particular velocity that is set there. So let's say my velocity is on full level, and then if I hit, I'm talking about being maybe like 127, and then if I hit this part immediately, it is going to do just that. It's going to move from 0 to what, let's just say 0 to 100. Yes, like straight up from beginning to the peak of that particular level, in the number of time I specified here, kind of like in microsecond or second or whatever. Now which means if I drag it this way, what I'm saying is, see, putting attack at 127. So we need to actually, let me just go back here and put a sound on it that will help us to understand it better. Yep. Let me see. Let's go. Okay, you come here. Go back here and okay, we got something. Now, if I go back to the menu and I go back to the program edit, now, did you hear the difference in that? When I press it this way, it's going from 0 to 100 like almost immediately. And the reason why you are hearing this now being here, let me take this decay away. Let me put the decay somewhere here now. Yeah, let me bring this here. So it begins when the key is pressed and it goes up. So if I put the attack at 127, it means I'm pressing the key, it's going up, it's going to the peak. If I take it closer here, it will hit that high level in no time. You get 24 and 64. It's going higher. But if I put it on 0, it goes straight to the peak immediately. There's no delay, there's no drag, there's no lifting up of the sound and all that. The same thing with decay. Now, decay is the time taken for the subsequent run down from the attack level to that designated sustain level. So the way this thing works is attack kind of like goes this way. It's talking about the time it takes for me to move from 0 to the peak of this particular amplitude. Then we're talking about the decay now is now like, okay, you know what? There's a place I want that sound to be sustained, right? There's a particular height I need that thing to be sustained. We're still going to talk about that sustain in detail now. So decay basically means the time it takes for that particular sound that you're hearing, that MIDI event, to return to the sustain level. So if I take down this sustain this way, now you have this pattern right here. So if I press at the first press, the attack will move up to this point. That means the time it will take for it to get to this particular peak. Then the decay is the time it will take to move back to the sustain level. Now it is the sustain level that it will now be retained for a long while, until the key is released. So it will now maintain that sustain level until the key is finally released. So when the key is pressed, this is now what we've done now. This is supposed to go up, then come down, and then maintain this particular height. So I don't know if you can hear that. That first sound went up sharply and then dropped down to the particular level, to a sustained level. Let me take this sound down furthermore so that we can probably hear that. You see the quick cut is because the decay, it dropped straight to almost near 0. Let me take it down further so that you can actually hear, you can almost hear that silent, that quick sharp cut off. That's the decay at work. It quickly took it down, but if you extend the decay, it might take a while before it hits down. You see, so decay is the time to take for that, after where you are still pressing it, the time to take for this attack to come here, to come back to the decay, that sound to go up and to come down. Now sustain basically is that current level you are now trying to leave it at. You're saying, you know what, now when you reach this stage, please hold on to it for as long as I'm pressing the particular MIDI event, the key, hold on, just maintain this level. So sometimes you might just want to have some couple of a key press. That means when I strike it, just go high then come back low, go high and come back low. So that's basically what you're doing with attack and decay. Now, and then also we've covered sustain, which basically means now when it's decaying, do not just decay back to 0. Still give me something to continue with as long as I'm pressing the particular MIDI. Stay on that particular level, and that's what you're doing with sustain when you tune sustain. But then release, it simply means, what do I want to happen when I take my hands up? It simply means, kind of like the time it will take for that level to decay from that sustain now to go back to 0 after the key is released. So when I release it, I need, do I want this particular level? Okay, let me put it here so that it can make more sense. When I release this particular MIDI event, I take my hands off it. Do I want it to still have a tail? It's kind of like a tail, like a fade out onto 0, fade out to 0, or do I want it to just give me like a sharp cutoff? So if I want to give me like a sharp cutoff, I put it on 0, right? Yes, I put it on 0. So when I do this, straight up, it stops. So from here, if I should drag it forward, you see, after I've taken my hands off, it takes a longer time for it to actually hit 0. But if I bring it back here, if I do this, if I make it like, maybe like 50 something, you can still sense that. $80. $117. So you actually notice it a lot more the more of this particular the more parameters you put on it. So that's basically just, in summary, if you have been seeing or you've been hearing about attack, decay, sustain, release, that's basically all, basically kind of like what they do. For me, I like to just see attack as adjusting my fading, and I like to see decay, release as adjusting my fade out. But then in between, we now have decay and the sustain. And the only thing that decay and sustain does for me is decay will let me know, okay, fine, now that it's reached the peak, it's time to start coming down. But then where do you want it to come down to? Now, sustain will say it is here, come down to this place and maintain that volume for as long as the key is pressed. Maintain that volume, and or that that particular amplitude, give me that particular level on as long as the key is pressed. Then when the key is released, quickly drop out, quickly fade out. So that is attack, decay, sustain, release for you. That'll be all for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you in the next one.